Fear is the silent killer of potential, the invisible force that holds both men and women back from greatness. It's the voice that whispers doubts, the weight that anchors dreams, and the barrier between mediocrity and excellence. But what if you could conquer this formidable foe in mere seconds? What if the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, could arm you with the tools to defeat fear and unlock your true potential? This is about fundamentally rewiring your mind to face life's challenges head-on, to embrace discomfort, and to thrive where others falter. The path to becoming a high-value individual, respected, admired, and truly free, lies in mastering fear. Not eliminating it, but harnessing its power to fuel your growth. In the next few moments, we'll explore how to transform fear from your greatest weakness into your most potent strength. 1. Define your fears. Vague, undefined fears are like shadows in a dark room. They grow larger and more menacing the longer you avoid confronting them. High-value individuals understand that the key to conquering fear is to drag it into the light, examine it from every angle, and define it in concrete terms. As Seneca wisely noted, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By clearly defining your fears, you strip them of their power to paralyze you. Start by writing down your fears in explicit detail. What exactly are you afraid of? What's the worst-case scenario? Once you've articulated your fears, subject them to rigorous scrutiny. How likely is this outcome? What evidence do you have that this fear is justified? Often you'll find that your fears are based more on emotion than fact. By defining them clearly, you make them tangible, manageable problems rather than looming, nebulous threats. Moreover, defining your fears allows you to prepare for them. Once you know exactly what you're afraid of, you can develop contingency plans. What steps could you take if your fear came true? What resources do you have at your disposal? By thinking through these scenarios, you'll not only feel more prepared, but you'll also realize that even your worst fears are often survivable. 2. Defeat fear with logic. Fear thrives in the shadows of irrationality. It feeds on vague threats and imagined catastrophes, but when exposed to the harsh light of logic, fear withers and dies. The first step in conquering fear is to mercilessly dissect it with reason. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." When fear grips you, force yourself to articulate exactly what you're afraid of. Write it down, speak it aloud. Often you'll find that the mere act of defining your fear strips it of its power. Is it failure you fear? Loss of status? Physical harm? Once identified, ask yourself, what's the worst that could realistically happen? How likely is this outcome? What resources do you have to cope with this scenario? By breaking fear down into its component parts, you rob it of its mystique and expose it for what it truly is, a product of your mind, not an inescapable reality. 3. Block out other people's opinions. The opinions of others are a poisonous well from which fear draws its strength. How many dreams have been abandoned? How many risks left untaken, all because of the imagined judgment of others? High-value individuals understand a fundamental truth. The opinions of others are utterly worthless when it comes to your personal journey. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Start by recognizing that most people's opinions are rooted in their own fears, insecurities, and limited perspectives. They project their own limitations onto you. When you listen to these voices, you're not gaining wisdom, you're absorbing weakness. Instead, cultivate a fierce independence of mind. Make decisions based on your own values, your own goals, and your own assessment of the situation. This doesn't mean ignoring all advice, but it does mean filtering that advice through your own judgment rather than blindly accepting it. Understand that greatness often looks like madness to the mediocre. History is littered with visionaries who were mocked, criticized, and dismissed, right up until the moment they changed the world. If you're not encountering resistance, you're probably not pushing hard enough. Embrace the criticism as a sign that you're on the right path. Let the doubters fuel your determination. As Theodore Roosevelt said, it is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. Be that person in the arena, bloodied but unbowed, pursuing your vision regardless of the spectators' opinions. 4. Question your extrapolations. The human mind is a prediction machine, constantly trying to anticipate future scenarios based on past experiences and current information. While this ability can be useful, it often leads us astray when it comes to fear. We take a small piece of information and extrapolate it into an entire narrative of doom. Marcus Aurelius warned against this tendency. If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Learn to catch yourself in the act of extrapolation. When you feel fear rising, pause and ask, what do I actually know for certain? What am I assuming? How much of this fear is based on concrete facts versus speculative fiction I've created in my mind? Often, you'll find that your fear is built on a foundation of assumptions and what-ifs, rather than solid evidence. By questioning these extrapolations, you can cut fear off at its source. 5. Focus on the other side of fear. Fear is a tunnel, not a wall. On the other side of fear lies growth, strength, and often success. High-value individuals understand that fear is not just an obstacle to be overcome, but a signpost pointing toward important opportunities for personal development. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Train yourself to look beyond the immediate discomfort of fear and focus on what lies on the other side. What will you gain by facing this fear? How will overcoming this challenge make you stronger, more resilient, more capable? Often the things we fear most are the very experiences that have the potential to transform us in profound ways. By shifting your focus from the fear itself to the benefits of overcoming it, you change the entire dynamic of the situation. Remember, comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time you push through fear, you expand your comfort zone and increase your capacity to handle future challenges. The discomfort you feel is the sensation of your limitations being stretched, your character being forged. Embrace it. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let your fears guide you toward the areas of your life that need the most attention, the skills that need the most development. In this way, fear becomes not an obstacle, but a valuable tool in your journey of personal growth. 6. Fear what you won't become. There's a type of fear that high-value individuals cultivate, the fear of unfulfilled potential. This isn't the paralyzing fear that holds you back, but the motivating fear that drives you forward. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. The awareness of life's brevity and the finality of death can be a powerful motivator to live fully and courageously. Imagine yourself at the end of your life looking back. What would you regret not doing? What version of yourself would you be disappointed not to have become? Let this vision fuel you. Let it make you more afraid of inaction than action, more afraid of stagnation than failure. This fear of unrealized potential can be the antidote to the smaller, everyday fears that hold us back. Remember, every time you let fear win, you're choosing a smaller life. You're choosing to be less than you could be. That's the real tragedy, not failure, not rejection, not even pain, but the slow, quiet death of possibility. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Choose to react to your fears with determination rather than retreat. Let the fear of a life half-lived be greater than any other fear you face. 7. Take heart from this tradition. You are not alone in your struggle with fear. You stand in a long line of individuals who have faced their fears and emerged victorious. From ancient philosophers to modern-day leaders, history is filled with examples of people who chose courage over comfort, action over paralysis. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, study the lives of those who came before you. Read about the challenges they faced, the fears they overcame. You'll find that even the most revered figures in history had moments of doubt and fear. What set them apart was their willingness to act in spite of those fears. Let their stories inspire you. Let them remind you that fear is a universal human experience, but succumbing to it is a choice. Moreover, recognize that by facing your fears, you're not just helping yourself, you're contributing to this grand tradition. You're setting an example for those who will come after you. Your courage today becomes someone else's inspiration tomorrow. As Seneca said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. By choosing to live fully and face your fears, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world around you. 8. Make courage a habit. Courage is not a personality trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop through consistent practice. High-value individuals understand that courage, like any other skill, improves with repetition. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The same is true for courage. Start by intentionally seeking out situations that challenge you. Make it a daily practice to do something that scares you, no matter how small. It could be striking up a conversation with a stranger, trying a new food, or speaking up in a meeting. The specific act doesn't matter as much as the consistent practice of pushing past your comfort zone. Over time, you'll find that what once terrified you becomes manageable, even routine. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate fear entirely. That's neither possible nor desirable. The goal is to build the habit of acting despite fear. By consistently choosing courage over comfort, action over inaction, you're not just facing your fears. You're fundamentally reshaping your relationship with fear. You're training yourself to see fear not as a stop sign but as a challenge to be met, an opportunity for growth. In time, courage becomes not just something you do, but a core part of who you are. If you have made it this far, comment down below with the word 100% to confirm that you have received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.